I'll let you know when we can all introduce ourselves. So today's onboarding and training, we're going to do quick intros and icebreakers. A lot of you are mission scholars, experts already, but a few of you are new to the organization. So I want to talk a little bit about the organization and also have the new coaches or the coaches of this year's class get to know each other quickly because it's sometimes nice to know, oh, okay, my student's in this city or my student's studying this thing. Like, oh, I know that coach's face. So we'll do a quick icebreaker, talk about mission scholars. We'll talk about what the role, I'll press play, of a college coach is, as well as what outcomes we're hoping for. And within that, I'm going to have Nathan, who's coaching a student who's heading into their freshman year, but also has been an awesome coach for our older students. One of our older students, he's going to tell you a little bit about his experience as a college coach. And then the training portion of this is we're just going to talk about a college coaching call, what to do on a call, what the point of it is, and answer any questions you have about it, and then talk about the timeline for the year and answer any questions and talk about next steps. So we'll start with the fun part, and I know we've got quite a few of us. A lot of times it's a smaller group, so we can go through the icebreaker quickly, but I'll introduce myself first for those of you that I don't know or haven't met yet in person. My name's Paige. I am the College Success Coordinator for Mission Scholars. I'll tell you a little bit about what that means later on. In a previous lifetime, I worked at Apple for 5 years in finance. I got to manage our worldwide AirPods forecast and accessories and do their rotational program, which we're actually having a couple of our students apply for and just got callback interviews for this week, which is really exciting. Nathan helped with that too. So that would be cool, full circle moment to see some of our students interning in the same role that I did once upon a time. Longer term history, I was born and raised in Santa Barbara. I went to Vieja Valley, La Colina, and DP, and then I went to USC for my undergrad. I know we have at least a couple of USC alums on the call. In exciting news, not all of you might know this that knew me, but I am pregnant and I'm going to be a new mom in September. So having a little boy. So that's an exciting life update for me. It also will make me a little bit harder to reach in the fall, but don't worry, there will be somebody covering for me and we will get you all that information ahead of time so you're not stranded. There's plenty of Mission Scholars staff and team, as well as somebody covering for me that'll be there to help. So yeah, these pictures are just some fun pictures of me, as well as how I started with Mission Scholars was in the same exact position you guys are in right now, which is as a college coach. So I moved back to Santa Barbara, was trying to figure out what I was going to do next, was going to do a startup, decided not to pursue that anymore, and fell in love with Mission Scholars as an organization. When I started coaching, you can see my mentee, Yvette, the bottom left picture. So I loved college coaching her. I started volunteering more for the LIT program, which I'll tell you more about, and then came into the role as an unpaid part-time position, and now I'm a part-time paid staff member. So that also, if I'm not as like responsive or if you don't hear from me right away, I will get to you. Feel free to bug me, but I don't work full time. So that also kind of makes my schedule a little bit different. So there's a little bit about me. And now I'd love to know a little bit about you. So you don't have to answer all of these questions, especially I know a lot of you are just got the email like this is who my student is, so don't feel stressed if you don't know where they're going to college or what they're studying. It's okay. But just your name, maybe either your profession or background, something about you, why you're excited to be a coach, and then I was gonna have us do a quick funny story of when you got to college, but it's a little bit bigger of a group this time. So I might like if you have a really good one or like something funny and quick, share it or like just a like, oh gosh, this is embarrassing. Like Shira and I talked about one earlier. Shira's on staff as well. So I might have her share, but if you don't, one doesn't come to mind, don't feel pressure to share. And then what's really exciting about this group is we actually have our first group of Mission Scholars alumni, so students that went through the program and are now going to be mentoring students of their own. So that's very exciting. So if you're a Mission Scholars alum, maybe mention that as well. So I will stop sharing my screen just so we can all see each other. And I'll copy paste the what I just said into the chat so you can see it in case you forget what I just mentioned. So actually, Shira, do you want to start first?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Shira, and I am a development associate at Mission Scholars. So I am part of the team. Very happy to be here. I think, mentee, her name is Mari, and she's going to Cal Poly Pomona and studying animal science. And then what was another one? I think there was. Oh, I'm super excited to be a coach. This is such a great opportunity to get to know one of our incredible students. Being in the office is just such a treat, and I'm so excited to really like advise a student in this way from my experience. Being a recent grad myself. And then I'll just share a quick story. Mine was that the business office can try to scam you. In college. I don't know if anyone had experiences like that, but that's what Paige and I talked about today is that it's always good to double check what the business office sends you. And it's always good to remind your mentees to do that as well. So we don't have time to get into that story, but yeah, that was my takeaway.
Thanks, Shara. Okay, I'm just gonna go in order of who I see on the screen. Let's go with Nathan.
Hey everyone, my name is Nathan. Grew up in Santa Barbara, went to Dos Pueblos like Paige, went to USC like Paige, um, studied mechanical engineering, undergrad and master's, and worked at a couple different companies. Most recently was at Rivian for a couple of years working on electric cars. Now I'm heading back to school myself. I'm going to business school at Harvard Business School in August. Um, I'm excited to be a coach, just working with students. I've worked with one student the past 3 years. She's going to be going into her fourth year at USC studying mechanical engineering, which has been super fun for me to see her growth at the same school in the same program. And then now I'm also going to be coaching a new student, Anel, who's an incoming freshman at Cal Poly SLO studying civil engineering. So really excited to restart the coaching journey with her and see her growth over the next 4 years.
Thanks, Nathan. Let's go with Angela. Do you want to introduce yourself?
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Angeli Morales. I'm currently, or I guess, a rising third year at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, studying agricultural science. I am super excited to be a coach. I used to work with Wonderful Education where mentoring was my thing. It was different, definitely on a larger scope. That was 96 students, so it's going to be a lot more fun to be focused with one. My student is Oscar. He is also going to Cal Poly SLO, and he's also going to be studying agricultural science. So that's going to be super cool to get to know him.
We're super excited to have you. Definitely has been my most interesting task yet, finding somebody that would be a good mentor in ag science. My tech and finance background didn't lend itself to that, so really grateful that you're there to mentor Oscar. It's going to be an awesome fit. Arash, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name's Rosh. I'm an attorney. I'm from Santa Barbara. Also went to DP. I'm just excited to be a college coach because I'm a first generation student, so I'm happy to give back. My student's Jesus. He's going to Clark University for finance. Quick funny story about me for college is my first day when my parents dropped me off. I left my room key inside. So my mom was like, we'll come walk you back to your house, your dorm room. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like I'm an adult now. I can handle it. Slash, I gotta go like to the admin office to get my new key, which happens a lot because they just had me sign a form to get it.
That's a really good one, and I feel like so classic. That's awesome. All right, Isabella.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bella. I born and raised in Santa Barbara, went to San Marcos, attended the University of San Diego, where I studied marketing. I am currently an associate researcher for electronic arts. And what I'm most excited for is that since I just graduated from the University of San Diego in December, that I'm able to kind of give advice, the advice I wish I got when I was in college to somebody else. So that's exciting. The student I'm going to be mentoring is Amanda. She's going to Davis and she's going to study anthropology. And I have a lot of funny stories, but they're too embarrassing. So I'll hold off on that.
That's very fair. I think we all probably have some of those. Merit, will you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Meredith, and currently I am a project manager at Stanley Black& Decker. I went to Lehigh University and studied chemical engineering, so it's kind of a switch since they're more used to mechanical engineering backgrounds, but it's still really fun to get to know what I want to do after the rotational program I'm in ends. And my student is Carlos. He's going to UC Santa Cruz to study computer science. So I'm excited to pass on the knowledge that I also wish I would have gotten in college. So nice to meet you all.
All right. Kathy, will you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy. I just graduated this May from USC, where I studied mechanical engineering. And I also went to Dos Pueblos High School. My student is Liz, and she's going to Cal Poly SLO to study mechanical engineering. And I'm super excited to be a college mentor because I just went through college, had a college mentor for the past 4 years, and she was incredible. And I hope to be like even a 1% of as good a mentor as she was.
I have no doubt you will be. And you and Nathan will have to connect too, since you'll both have freshmen at Cal Poly. I'm sure you can share some wisdom. All right, Mary, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name's Mary, and I'm very excited that Paige invited me to be a mentor. I spent my career, I went to Arizona State University. I'm older than everybody here, I can see that. But I spent a lot of years as a nurse at Cottage Hospital in psychiatric mental health. And I'm going to be mentoring Eve. She's going to Macalester University in St. Paul, Minnesota. And we've already met, and I'm just absolutely delighted to be able to be in her life and answer her questions. She's, as you know, all of these kids are first generation college students, and the questions she asks, I was able to answer. So I felt so good about that. And I'm just delighted to be here and to work with all of you and help her adjust to something very different that her family's not used to. And I'm very proud of her already. She's an incredible girl. So I'm happy to be working with all of you guys.
Well, I happened to see her. She's one of our interns this summer, and I saw her today in the office, and she was thrilled to get to work with you as well and had a lovely time. So the feeling is mutual.
That's great. Thank you.
Jean Marie.
Hi everyone, my name is Jean Marie, and I'm currently a UX designer at Upfolio. My background, though, is in higher ed, and so I was working in higher education for maybe 7 years until I dropped out of my doctoral program. But I went to USC for my master's, so I went to UC Santa Barbara for my undergrad and studied political science. And let me pull the rest up. I'm super excited to be a college coach because I also am like first gen student, and the work that I was doing in higher ed was specifically in access and retention. And so very excited to see a group like this and excited to embark on the college career journey with somebody, with Mia specifically, who goes to UCSB, and she's going to be studying STEM or English. She's not quite sure yet. And then lastly, yeah, I most recently moved back to Santa Barbara from the Bay Area, was working on a nonprofit that also helped with college access and retention. So it's been a lot of fun. A quick funny story. I was an RA in college, and so I have a lot of funny stories of my residents and the shenanigans they got up to in UC Santa Barbara. But yeah, definitely for another time.
Yeah, I can only imagine. We have a few students that are RAs or going to be first-time RAs. Maybe I'll have to introduce them to you. Jean Marie has a wealth of professional knowledge, so if there are questions I can't answer, I'll definitely be hopefully reaching out to her for all of her amazing experience. Okay, Emmett or Fernanda, I know Fernanda, you're traveling right now, so no pressure to join, but Emmett, feel free to let me know in the chat if you're available to introduce yourself or I see you're
I'm
off mute.
here. I'm here. I'm here. Hey everyone.
Perfect.
My name's Emmett Jenkins. I am the after school coordinator for Santa Barbara Unified School District. I don't know, some of you guys grew up here in Santa Barbara. You might know the AOK program. If you do, I run that. So if you guys have any good things to say, let me know. If you don't, keep them to yourself. Just kidding. No. But I am originally from Michigan. I went to Eastern Michigan University. Been out here in California for about 11 years now. Been in Santa Barbara for about 7. Um, it seems like everybody here is from California or went to a California school. Cool, but I'm from the cold Midwest, so completely different college experience for me. Super excited to be a college mentor. It's funny, I already know my student as well. His name's Victor, and he's actually been volunteering in the AOK program for years. And so it's cool to see him kind of grow up from, freshman year to senior and graduating and now going on to Pitzer University out in Claremont. And I'm excited to kind of see his road that he travels and help him out along the way. So.
Awesome. Fernanda, I'll introduce you.
Yeah, I can
You got
introduce
it?
myself real
All
quick.
right, go
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
So my name is Fernanda del Toro, and I go to USC. I'm currently getting my undergrad in public policy and my master's in business analytics. And I have Angel Rodriguez, who is studying sociology at Pitzer, and I'm really excited to meet them. And I'm really excited to be a college coach because mine was extremely helpful with not only school things, but also like my personal life. I feel like I reached out to her for like literally just about anything. So I'm excited to kind of be that for her. And I guess like the only story I can think of is I lagged really like a really long time to like open my acceptance letter to USC because I thought it was like financial aid, like asking for like documents. So I was like, okay, I'll do this later. And then once I opened it, it was my acceptance letter. So
That's a crazy story. I didn't know that. That's funny. Okay, well, I know we spent, Fernanda, I think you're on mute, so I'm gonna just keep moving. I know we spent a lot of time doing introductions, but I do think it's nice to know who else is coaching. We have 28 students, so this is not everyone. There's some local doctors and people in lots of different professions and age ranges that are coaches. So hopefully you'll get to know them through other training calls. We always try and prioritize. The most important thing is to meet with your students. So I try not to monopolize your time and do a bunch of calls and intros and that sort of thing. Like if you're ever picking what to do, I want you to spend time with your student. So there's a quick intro. And if you want to know, hey, is there any mentors in this field or, my student's doing this, but I have a background in that, definitely reach out to me if there's anyone on the call you want to connect with. I'm happy to connect individuals and coaches as well. Okay, so let's get to the good stuff. Okay. Already did that. Okay, so brief history of Mission Scholars. This will be repetitive for those of you who have already worked with the organization or been a part of it, but I think it's important to know. So Mission Scholars was founded by our founders are Katie, Cassie, and Kim in 2019 with the goal of doing something pretty unique in Santa Barbara. There's, as many of you know, a lot of nonprofits and organizations doing really cool things in the community, but what Katie and the team noticed was for high achieving students that wanted to go to a 4-year university, there wasn't necessarily a program that helped them through the complicated application process. And the year that they started, there was actually an article in the Santa Barbara Independent that said that only 10% of low-income graduates were enrolling in a four-year university in the fall within the Santa Barbara community. So they saw that as kind of a call to action to create an organization and a pilot program, which it's so fun that some of the individuals that just introduced them have just graduated from school and are in that photo from 4 years ago and are now the college coaches, which was a vision of our program all along. So it's really fun to see that through. So yeah, the students that we work with are traditionally highly motivated, low income or under-resourced students with diverse interests and college experiences. So it's not all one major or one type of program. We accept students across a variety of programs, and you'll kind of notice that the program gets bigger and bigger as we go. It's a bigger cohort than it shows in 2022. But this year we have a group of, let's see if this will work. Come on. There we go. 28 students heading off to college that we have coaches for. So this is us. Actually, some of you graduating seniors are in this too, but this is some of the staff. So in the middle, you see Kim in the pink sweatshirt or purple sweatshirt, Cassie and Katie who founded it. And it was a really fun event for all of us, seeing some of you that have gone through the program the whole time. And then you might be able to spot some of your I interchangeably use the word mentor and college coach. So if you hear both and you're like, why is she saying mentor? I don't know what that is. I interchangeably use them both. So that's a little bit about the history of why Mission Scholars was founded. And we're in our fifth cohort heading off to college. And we have two cohorts in high school right now. So the program's really blossomed and we have over 100 students that'll be in college in the fall. So that's very exciting. So then what do we do for these students? So, and kind of what do they face, which I've already spoken to a little bit, but as students that we work with head into school, some of the common obstacles are financial aid. We heard like Shira talk about how complicated it can be to work with that office and making sure that they have the resources they need to enter into school. It's been really exciting over the last 2 years. Last year, 95% of our students' college cost of college, including room and board, was covered, and this year, over 90% as well. So these students are going into school, and that's excluding loans. So our students are going into school trying to minimize loans. So we help consistently with financial aid. They're also often balancing, as students here can attest to, burdens of balancing work and family, learning to advocate for themselves in a new environment, trying to navigate social and emotional barriers to success, and really learn the language of navigating college, which I think everyone on the call can probably relate to heading into this new environment and learning what it takes to navigate that. Really quickly, I'll send these slides out so you can see them, but we have a three-prong approach, starting with college access. So we start with students their sophomore year now, which is earlier, helping them pick their curriculum, working with parents, working on applications. They each have an essay coach with Jean Marie, I think you're doing that as well this year, which is awesome. So each student is paired with an individual essay coach to help them get into these schools. There's also like different volunteer opportunities they can do, but really it's a comprehensive program to help our students access college, but that access isn't meaningful if they're not able to afford it. So we also have our affordability coordinator, Yasmin, who's joined the team over a year ago now, that really has been instrumental in making sure that we have good financial aid and scholarship support. Our students get training on budgeting and financial literacy. I spent hours and hours looking over probably 200 financial aid packages that came in this spring, trying to decipher and interpret what a good financial aid package is and put it into our system to help our students make informed decisions about which school was the most affordable with Yasmin and team, and then continuing throughout school. So if your student's having any trouble with financial aid, say it's like, oh, I can't register for classes because I have a hold on my account because they said I didn't pay something, but like my scholarships should cover it, or I had this scholarship last year. Now they are not giving it to me, and I don't know why. Please reach out to us as a team, and we want to help continue to support students on financial aid throughout their college experience. And then the third piece, which is what you're a part of, is college success. So we have multiple ways that we do that. We're doing a lot of workshops this summer, which I'll talk about. College coaching and mentorship. What you're doing is probably the most important thing that we do. And then we have really trying to focus on internship and job matching, helping our students find positions. I'll talk about like what your role can be in that, and then different networking events and mentoring younger students, and then helping them launch into their career. Okay, so what are the program outcomes for college success specifically? What we're hoping for our students is academic success so that they're feeling like they can navigate school academically and do well, whatever that well is that their goals are. It doesn't mean we expect straight A's. That's very difficult going into college, but helping them feel good about their academics performance does not mean you're a chemistry tutor. Like that's not what we expect of our college coaches. Really, it's helping them find the resources they need. So say they're in a really challenging biology class. Maybe it's saying, have you checked on the tutoring center, register early, or what are you struggling in? Maybe we can reach out to Paige to see if she has any ideas on how you can do this, but really hearing what they're struggling with and helping them advocate for themselves and find those resources on campus. Um, and then we'll go through in a little more detail on career success. But another big goal in having a college coach is college retention. It can be, I'm sure several individuals on this call can attest to how challenging transitioning to colleges, especially if we have a lot of students going off to the East Coast and they're far away from home and maybe have never left Santa Barbara. And they're like, why am I in New York? I should have like gone to somewhere in California. I should leave. And so, or I failed my first test, like I don't belong here. I should drop out. And what our goal is as an organization and as college coaches is to be like, it's okay. You're not the first student to fail a test or be homesick. Let's figure out ways that we can cope and learn how to move through this and navigate the best path forward so that they can continue in college. And the last piece is this long-term relationship of 4 years. What we ask of coaches is a pretty consistent relationship the first year. So their freshman year, trying to really maintain that once a month cadence. And then throughout their 4 years, it's going to change. Like you'll find like, I'm often like texting with students that are older or messaging them or emailing like, hey, Paige, I can't find a job in this or that. Or, hey, I don't need to do a Zoom call this month. I'm doing pretty well academically, but do you have any ideas on this or that? So as they progress throughout their college experience, if you decide like, okay, we work better on like a meet in person when they're in town, if you live in Santa Barbara, and then text about stuff, that's totally fine. We do ask for the first year, just as you're establishing a relationship. I think it's really beneficial to do that once a month Zoom call cadence. And then as it moves on, we have some students that stay super engaged throughout their 4 years, and other students where they're like, no, I'm good. Like, thank you for your help, but I don't necessarily need that support. And so if that becomes the case, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And that's not on you. It's just every student has different needs. All right, Kathy, this is one I'm promised about embarrassing you, but I love this quote. You're welcome to speak to your experience instead of me talking about it, but I'll let you all read this quote. I'll read it quickly. Mission Scholars has paired me with a college coach who is so helpful and always willing to help me in every aspect of my life, not just academics. Because I'm the first in my family to attend college, I can't ask family members for guidance because they don't know how to support me. That's where the college coach comes in. Just having someone to set goals with and who can help me with my cover letter and resume has made a big difference in my ability to succeed as a college student. Do you remember writing that, Kathy?
That was a while ago.
I
Oh my
know, but
gosh.
it's so
Still
good.
relevant. Yeah.
Still true. Is there anything you'd add to that in your experience?
I mean, this is the first I'm hearing that it's a once a month commitment. Like, Kate was just the absolute best, and we would meet every single week, literally for all the 4 years I was in college. And I needed that. Like if I didn't meet with her that week, we would still text. Um, and I'm definitely like more than excited to if my mentor was like, I want to meet twice, a week, let's do it by all means. Yeah, if I can, I'm there for her.
That's great. Yeah, I think it really depends on the student too. Um, I think Kathy, you're the only one I've ever heard of that had a once a week meeting. That's really impressive, or I'm glad that that worked for you, but definitely don't. I think it's a mutual thing. We found that like a once a month phone call, like video, see each other type thing is really like a good minimum to continue the relationship. And then also, feel free to say, I don't have the bandwidth, or like say there's a month like it's December, the holidays are crazy, we can't find a time. Like, I'm not going to be checking in saying, like, oh, you didn't meet exactly on that 4 week cadence. Like, that's not the goal of this program. I want it to be flexible. If you meet, you know, 2 weeks and then 6 weeks, or, you know, you're out of the country or you're out doing something, like, really, it's just to create that consistency and build that relationship. So, I think each student's different too. Some students, they're like, no, I'm busy. I don't want to talk to you right now, you know? So really gauge your student and what the personality feels like, and also what you have bandwidth for. And if it ever gets to a point where it's like, I can't provide the level of support that the student needs, don't hesitate to reach out to me and the team. And I'm always happy and text with students all the time and check in with them and help, you know, with resumes and different stuff. So if you feel like you need additional support, don't hesitate to reach out. But I love that, Kathy. It's fun to hear. Okay, so now we got kind of a student perspective. I wanted Nathan to share his experience. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see him, um, about what it's been like as a college coach.
Yeah, sure. Happy to speak a little to my experience over the past few years working with Anna, who you saw in that previous slide. We met up at a homecoming game for USC. I was back on campus with a bunch of friends and got to link up with her, which was really fun. Um, but anyways, yeah, the past few years have been really, really great for me as a mentor and for her as a mentee, I hope. Um, it's been really phenomenal just seeing her growth over the past 4 years. She entered college excited for engineering, excited for USC, but a little timid, a little unsure of what to expect. Um, of course, it was all foreign to her, and really just being able to give that support, I think was really beneficial to her. And then for me, it's been phenomenal seeing her growth. Now she's finding internships every summer, talking to me proactively about how she's going to network with different people on LinkedIn and whatnot. And just seeing that growth, both academically and professionally, has been super, super rewarding for me as a mentor. Um, I think things that I've helped the most with have been kind of as Paige touched on, like having that academic support system for her, just general college navigation, answering questions like what are office hours? Have you considered seeing what supplemental instruction exists for this class that you're struggling with? And just asking those prodding questions that really enabled her to go seek out these extra resources and get the help where she needed. Um, and just navigating all through college, with having that like judgment free perspective that she could just reach out to at any time. Um, in addition to that, of course, the career navigation has been super helpful as well, doing all the resume reviews. I helped her set up her LinkedIn account, showed her what cold messaging is on LinkedIn. Um, just basically like answering all of those questions and how to think about your career, both internships and then over the next 5 years, 10 years, where do you want to be? Like, let's work backwards from there and kind of see what you can be doing now to help get there. But then most importantly, I think just having that or being there for that extra support has seemingly been the most impactful uh, aspect of this mentorship for her. I think it's really those times when the student is struggling and in this library late at night and just knowing that they have that extra support, that extra person that believes in them back home, I think is really the most powerful aspect of mentorship. I think some tips that have worked really well for Anna and myself, again, that may change with every mentor-mentee relationship, but some things that have worked really well for us is one, having like goals at the end of each call. We usually will chat, see how things are going, what you're struggling with, what things are going well, and then what do we want to accomplish before the next call. And then that way there's something to refer back to. So, okay, I remember you said you wanted to go to these office hours, join this club, etc. We haven't been checking in daily, but now after a month has gone by, like where are we at? And just to have those points to refer back to, I think is really helpful to keep the mentee accountable, um, and just continue that conversation throughout. Um, Additionally, like Paige said, the cadence can change a little bit throughout the 4 years and then throughout how busy final seasons are, etc. But I still try to keep to at least texting once a month and checking in, say, hey, do you want to meet? Are you busy? Like, let's just kind of see where you're at. And just having that constant communication has been really helpful. Um, but yeah, I think in general, it's just the most helpful thing is having that set of goals that you constantly refer to, the long-term goals and the short-term, month-to-month goals that you can refer back to have been really the most beneficial thing that we've implemented.
Thanks, Nathan. It's a really good segue into like, I'm going to talk quickly about what a coaching call is and the structure, as well as the goal setting element of it. But does anybody have any questions? I feel like it's been a lot of talking at you. Any questions you want to ask either me or Nathan or Kathy before I walk through that?
I have a question. Oh, sorry, my dog just like moved abruptly. So okay, so Nathan, was it difficult to kind of get your mentee on board to the mentorship like relationship, or was it pretty natural for you? Did you find any challenges when it came to that?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge would just be getting my mentee to be open and admit when she was struggling and developing that trust with a stranger that says, "Hey, I'm your mentor now." Um, so luckily she was pretty open to like when I reached out and said, "Let's set up calls." Um, it definitely like took a couple meetings to really develop that relationship. Um, so luckily she was responsive every time we set up a call. Like she was open to it, but there definitely was that little hurdle to get over of building that trust.
Right.
And then yeah, from there it was good.
Cool. Thank you.
Sure.
I think that's a really unique thing about this mentorship program is that it's somebody who's not like a parent or guardian or relative that's going to go back and like, oh, tell so and so that like you got a C on your final, right? So you're kind of an accountability partner, but also a neutral um voice or presence in their life that isn't like, I'm so worried about disappointing my family. And so I think building that space where they feel comfortable coming to you and saying, oh, I really bombed that midterm. Like, what do I do? It takes time, and some students gravitate towards that more naturally than others, just like people. I will talk your ear off all day and tell you personal details I should probably keep to myself more naturally. Other students, that's going to take time. And we've got some questions and open-ended questions and things to help like develop that relationship. And it's also why we promote like just getting to know each other over the summer, ahead of college before it gets really crazy is kind of nice. If you don't already have a relationship with them, to build that trust, but it's okay if it takes longer. And if at any point you're like, they just answer my questions with yes or no answers. This isn't working. Paige, can you help? Don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask them what they want out of the relationship too. I don't think that's a bad thing to ask. Any other questions right now?
And one thing to add to that page real quick, I think also setting up Zooms was really helpful because sometimes over text she was kind of like, it's all good. And then we'd set up a Zoom call and we'd actually like talk through it all.
That's a really good point. All right. I want to leave time for some questions at the end too. So, roles and expectations. We talked about this a little bit already. One of the areas that I really want to focus on this year is internship support. So you being a really important accountability partner for them finding opportunities over the summer. This does not mean you need to give them a job or, be the one, like maybe you don't have the LinkedIn super skills that Nathan has. That's okay. But it is helping remind them that they need to be accountable for finding summer employment. For a lot of students, that extra income over the summer can be really helpful going into the next year. And so finding a paid position over the summer that aligns with their career goals. And we're going to have a workshop talking about that more as well. Other pieces of it, committed engagement, advocacy, and communication. And periodic group meetings, surveys, and training. So that's more on your side. We'll have these meetings like once a quarter or so. And then we'll be sending you surveys just to check in. How are you doing as a coach? Like, is this working for you? How do you think your students doing? And that sort of thing. I also, for anybody in town, I do want to try and schedule a happy hour in person in the fall before I leave on. We've done that in the past, which has been really fun. And for those of you not here, I'm sorry. I know that's a bummer. But if you are in town, you heard me say it, so you can hold me accountable on trying to make that happen before I go on mat leave.
Paige, I had a quick question. Do the students also get sent surveys, or is it just like more casual? You check in with them on how like the mentorship relationship is going?
Really good question. So we're trying to become better about that. Surveys are not my area of expertise. We've got Christine interning this summer, who many of you know. She's a rising senior at Brown, and she is an education major and research specialist. So she's helping me develop more surveys. I check in with a lot of students a lot, but I do think having that data and like info from students is important. And so we are going to try and be better about that moving forward. We're trying to find that right balance of not like over annoying our students with so much data collection and checking in on them. So always open to feedback on how we can do that effectively. And that's something Christine's working on, which Bella, if you have input, you're more than welcome to
I'll
reach
think
out
about
to.
it. I'll talk to Christine about it too.
You've also been doing a lot of Mission Scholars volunteering, so I'm not going to sign you up for anything else right now as you're leading other workshops and things. So, okay, so the framework for a check-in. So like I said, the first meeting with your student, I really just want it to be casual, like a coffee chat, a Zoom chat, whatever works for your schedule. Some of you have already met with your students, which is awesome, but a chance to get to know each other. But in future chats, there's Katie kind of developed this, but like greeting, get to know each other, kind of review maybe your college coaching contract, which I sent via email and we'll talk about briefly here. Kind of assess like how do you feel you're doing? Maybe it's academically, like socially, emotionally, physically, whatever you think's appropriate, like checking in on how they're doing. And then this aligns with what Nathan talked about is like, what are the action steps? So we had this call. I'm here to support you. One, is there anything that I can do to better support you until our next meeting? But that's one thing. But I think two is like what Nathan said, like, what can I help hold you accountable for you to do before our next meeting? So is that, okay, they're going into their fall first year. Everyone talks about these office hours. Okay, I'm going to at least go to 2 professor office hours, or I'm going to go to 1 for each of my 3, 4 classes. And no, I don't want to do that. Yes, it's scary, but like, here's maybe, 2 questions to ask, or like, go do your homework in the TA's office hours. So like, you're there with other people, something like that. Or like, I'm going to join 1 club to try and get to know people. Or I went from being on a sports team full time, exercising a ton in high school to now I'm on college campus and and I don't mean it as a like body image thing, but I need some way to like stress management wise exercise for my health and mental health. Like, can you help hold me accountable to finding an exercise class or an intramural club. Um, and then summarizing at the end, like what those action steps are or, what they're hoping to do. And really just being accountability partners. So that's like what we have boxed here. Each call should end with at least one thing the student is responsible for implementing, whether that's, academic related, professionally, like, okay, I'm gonna go research, I'm gonna find 3 companies that would be like so cool to intern for. Or I'm gonna go talk to one student at a graduate program that I'm interested in. So whatever it is, just something that they are actively doing that you and the student feel like is productive. Or maybe it's I'm going to go meet with my RA and talk to them so that when something does happen, I know who my RA is and I can go ask them the question. It's not just like, oh, I'm scared to talk to you. So whatever that may be, I'm sure a lot of you have good ideas on things, but see what they want to do too. Okay, so here are the kind of pillars of, just to refer back to, different areas to check in on, and you'll have these slides. I'm going to send them to you, so no pressure to like write these down, but academic, social, emotional, communication and connection, organization, time management. It's a huge thing as students transition to their freshman year, and Bella and Christine just did a workshop on communication and time management, so students have tools to utilize. So if you're in your maybe second meeting, like see if they went to like that workshop or have thought about how they're gonna time block and use their Google Calendar or how they're gonna, send a professional email. And then this area here, which is really important for us as an organization, is to help them continue to thrive professionally and find, whether it's work study jobs or summer opportunities. It just makes a huge difference on their career aspiration goals. I'm not going to read all of these right now, but these will be attached in the PDF that I send. But if you're like struggling to like kind of pulling teeth of like trying to get them to open up a little bit more, we've added some open-ended questions that you can ask, like to follow up on something that you're talking about. This one's similar to the other wheel I had above, but just different dimensions of wellness on how they're doing. So if like you're like, oh, I don't know what to talk about this coaching call, you can refer to this. And then here are some resources. The links will be clickable in the PDF, but different articles. And then this book rec is actually from Christine. She's a junior at Brown, studying education and specifically wants to work with similar community of students that we're working with. And she highly recommended reading The Privileged Poor. She thought that was pretty interesting. It's a little bit academic in nature, like the type of book, but she really liked that. So there's some other resources if anyone else has good things that they've liked or enjoyed or think could be helpful in mentoring, feel free to share them in the chat. Okay, timeline. So onboarding, check. You've done it. You're here. This like training will probably be our only one in the summer, and then we'll start up in the fall. Christine, again, our intern that I keep talking about, has helped us like work on a training curriculum. So the topics that we're hoping to cover this year are like cultural sensitivity and how to talk through things that maybe like you've had a different experience or how to navigate tough conversations, that sort of topic. Then we're going to do academic and wellness combined for one in the fall, just talking about how to thrive academically and emotionally. The next one we'll do short-term career planning. So that will be how do I get an internship? And that'll include the other coaches, not just the freshman year coaches, but other coaches on how do you support your student to navigate finding a job and internship. And it'll correspond with what they're learning in their student workshops that will be me this fall, sad. But that we're training them on how to do that. So it'll be nice to kind of have those correlate, like, okay, they're learning about how to find an internship. Here's some of the stuff that we reviewed. Here's how you can support them as a college coach is our goal. And then the last one will be on long-term goal setting, which I think is really fun. Like, okay, you finished your freshman year or your sophomore year or whatever. Do you still want to do the same thing you thought you wanted to do when you started college? like professionally? If not, did you change your major? How's that going to impact things? So those are kind of the topics we're hoping to do in the quarterly trainings moving forward. We hope that you'll have your first meeting sometime before they start their year. Let me know how that goes, and then fill out the coaching agreement that was attached in the initial match email that I sent to you. So that has some long-term goals, agreeing how and when you're going to connect about meetings. So trying to get that into us. It's okay if it's, if you want to wait till they've started school. Like by that September time, I'm not going to be hounding you, but just in the fall, trying to get that coaching agreement back to me. If you are eager and ready to do it now and your student wants to do it now, send it to me whenever. That's about it. And then you'll get a survey kind of in the summer. We might do it more regularly, but like reviewing goals and talking to them about how their summer, either job or internship, it might be hard to get you might not get that internship at Google your freshman summer because they're only hiring juniors, So like whatever their summer plans are, kind of reviewing how that's going, how do you translate that into your resume, et cetera. So that's kind of the timeline, is those once a month meetings, a few trainings that'll always be recorded and put on Zoom if you can't come live, but it's fun to get to see and talk to each other. And then some surveys. So this is the coaching contract that you all, I think it looks similar to this, if not exactly this one, that you all received in that initial welcome email to fill out sometime this summer or this fall. If you have questions about it, let me know. This is a sample of our lit calendar, which I keep referring to, lit workshops. Our big event is this July 17th. So if you do meet with your mentors beforehand, Kathy, we still need to confirm if this still works for you, but you're on the poster for now. I don't know if it works for your schedule. We'll change it if not. But we're doing this kickoff event, which is a big event in person for the students at Sensata, a local company that one of our mentors, Libby, works at. They get to do a site tour. We talk about vision boarding. They each do like a collage vision board. We talk about what they want to work on in their workshops. So they design this calendar of what skills and things that they want to be doing. They want us to teach. And so that's really fun. Yeah, and there's pizza and ice cream, and a panel of career professionals in different industries to talk about why planning your career the same way you worked really diligently to get into the college you want to go to, why it matters to make that same kind of plan for your professional development. Okay. This we've already talked about. If you ever need any additional support, I've left my email and my cell phone number. Feel free to email or reach out to me. And again, once I'm no longer available, so like late September, I'll be sure to let you know who will be covering for me. Okay.
Paige, are you sharing your screen?
Was it not sharing?
It hasn't been sharing.
Okay. Sorry. Let me flip through those really quick.
It's been sharing for me.
Yeah,
It was? Okay.
Forgive me then. I apologize. I don't know what I clicked then.
No worries. I was like, oh man, struggles. But Kathy, here's kind of a quick flip through of what will also be sent to you as a PDF via email. Okay, I know we're close to that 6:30 mark, so whenever anyone needs to leave, feel free to drop off. But I wanted to leave at least a couple minutes for any questions, concerns, thoughts. No? All right, well, if they come up or if you think of anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I just want to really emphasize how much we appreciate you taking the time to do this and the impact. I think Kathy and Nathan both spoke to how nice it is to have somebody in their corner as they embark on this new journey that's a little bit or a lot of it ahead of them in their life path. So thank you again for your time and willingness to do this.
Thanks, Paige. Excited. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Paige.
Bye.
Thank you.
Nice meeting everyone.